The imperative POS retail system is composed of 3 modules. The sales admin module allows you to monitor all the cashier transactions and lets you generate various sales reports. The inventory module allows you to enter purchase orders, as well as monitor and manage your inventory. The cashier module is where the cashier will enter sales transactions and perform other cashiering duties. This is a typical setup for a small store. You have a back-end PC, which can store the sales admin and inventory modules. You then have the cashier module installed in one or more cashier terminals. Once the dashboard module is ready, you will be able to monitor the store transactions through the Internet. This is a sample setup for multiple stores. Each store will have its own back-end PC, aside from the cashier terminals. All sales and inventory transactions will then be consolidated to head office, represented by the POS central server. The dashboard module will then allow you to view all the transactions from the head office. This diagram shows the typical process flow for the cashier module. First step is for the cashier to log into the system. The next step is to perform a beginning money count, to tell the system how much money the cashier has. From the main menu, the cashier can then enter various transactions, such as petty cash vouchers, cash advances, cash remittances, and of course entering sales transactions. Once the cashier's shift is done, the cashier can perform an ending money count, followed by generation of the daily cashier's report. After that, the cashier can then log out so that the next cashier can use the system. This is the money count form, where the cashier can enter the beginning or ending money count. All you have to do is enter the quantity for each bill denomination. After entering the beginning money count, the cashier will then see the sales entry form, so that the cashier can already start entering sales transactions. This features a very streamlined and simple interface, which makes it very easy to use. If a new customer walks into the store, the cashier has the option to enter the new customer's information into the system. This can be very useful if you want to track your sales on a per-customer basis. You can also skip this process and just treat all customers as walk-in customers. The Personal Information tab lets you enter the basic information about the customer. You can also choose to enter the work information about the customer. You can also enter financial information about the customer. If you are using the Loyalty module, you can also track the number of points that the customer has already earned. Once you have added the customer information, you can then proceed with the sales transaction. You can add an item to the transaction either by scanning the barcode of the item, or by selecting the item through the drop-down list. If you have a touch screen, you can also use the touch screen interface of the system. Through the Action menu button, you can also perform other functions like updating or deleting an item from the sales entry form, applying discounts, or checking the price of an item, or seeing if it is in stock. You can change the quantity of an item, or the price, if you have the proper security access. You can also apply discounts, which you can set up in the Sales Admin module. In the Item Lookup form, you can search for a particular item, to view its unit price or quantity in stock. You can accept different modes of payment, depending on your store setup. Modes of payment include cash, credit card, gift certificate, check, debit card, or loyalty points. You can also charge the sale to the customer's account. The Transaction menu button allows you to perform other actions, such as canceling a sales transaction, holding or resuming sales transactions, voiding payments, or entering a return exchange transaction. You can hold multiple transactions, then just resume it once you are ready to continue. You can also view the payment summary for a transaction. You can go back and review a particular sales transaction. You can also return and exchange items. The Others menu button allows you to perform other transactions. You can reprint a receipt, if requested by the customer. You can enter a cash advance transaction. This is normally done when cash needs to be issued to the cashier to establish a change fund. You can also enter a petty cash voucher transaction for entering expenses that will be taken from the cashier's cash on hand. You can predefine the types of expenses that you will allow and want to track in the system. You can also enter a cash remittance or withdrawal transaction, which allows you to pull out cash or checks from the cash drawer so that it can be deposited. At the end of the shift, the cashier can then generate the daily cashier's report, which will show the summary of transactions for the day, as well as indicate if the cashier has an over or shortage amount. The cashier configuration window allows you to configure various settings that will affect the operations of the cashier module. For example, you can set up the VAT rate, POS serial number, name of the branch. You can also configure settings for the customer poll display, and other settings on how sales transactions are entered into the system. You can also select which payment modes can be accepted by the cashier. You may configure the text that will appear at the top and bottom portions of the receipt. You may configure to which printer will the receipt be printed to. You may also set if you will be using the loyalty module, and what type of card will you be using.